What is the secret to living a life that truly matters? What is the key to finding significance and fulfillment in a world that often feels meaningless and chaotic? The answer, my friends, lies in the power of authenticity. In this video, we will explore a quote that serves as a guiding light on our journey towards a life of truth and meaning. Get ready to embark on a transformative journey as we delve into the profound words that hold the secrets to living a life that truly matters. Prepare to have your perspectives challenged, your mind expanded, and your soul ignited by the timeless wisdom shared in this video. So let us dive deep and discover the profound truths that will lead us to a life of authenticity and significance. Let's begin. The words we will discuss today come from the great philosopher Albert Camus, a man who dedicated his life to seeking meaning in a seemingly absurd world. Camus once said, "Only a life lived with sincerity and truth has meaning." These words carry with them the weight of his life's work, inviting us to examine how we live, what we believe, and the choices we make every day. To truly understand and appreciate the depth of this quote, we must first break down its parts and explore the individual components that come together to form a powerful whole. The first part of the quote, "Only a life," immediately grabs our attention and sets the stage for the profound statement that follows. It's a simple yet effective way of emphasizing that this discussion applies to each one of us. We all lead lives that require meaning and direction. And without it, we risk becoming lost and disillusioned. Now let's move on to the phrase "lived with sincerity." When we talk about living with sincerity, we are referring to a lifestyle that is genuine, honest, and free from pretense. Sincerity implies a deep-rooted authenticity where our thoughts, words, and actions are in harmony with our core values and beliefs. It is a way of living that values honesty, integrity, and a steadfast commitment to one's principles. Furthermore, sincerity involves a genuine and heartfelt approach to life. It is the quality of being truthful, candid, and forthright in our interactions with others. A life lived with sincerity is one that is characterized by a deep sense of purpose and conviction. It is a life lived according to one's own moral and ethical standards, regardless of external pressures or societal expectations. Living with sincerity means being true to oneself and staying committed to one's values and beliefs, even in the face of adversity. It requires courage, resilience, and a strong sense of self-awareness. By living with sincerity, we cultivate deeper and more meaningful connections with ourselves and others, fostering a sense of trust, respect, and admiration. Moving further along, we encounter the phrase "and truth." This part of the quote highlights the inseparable link between sincerity and truth. To live with truth means embracing honesty, both in our internal beliefs and external interactions. Truthfulness is a cornerstone of authenticity, and it is through living a life guided by truth that we can find meaning and purpose. Living with truth involves being honest with ourselves and others, acknowledging reality as it is, and striving to align our actions with our beliefs. It means speaking up against falsehoods and standing up for what we know is right, even when it is difficult or unpopular. Embracing truth in our lives requires courage, integrity, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable realities. However, it is through this process that we cultivate authenticity, depth, and significance in our existence. Living with truth fosters trust, respect, and deeper connections with ourselves and others. It allows us to see the world more clearly and make better decisions that are aligned with our values and aspirations. Ultimately, living a life guided by truth is a path to personal growth, self-discovery, and a more meaningful existence. Finally, the last part of the quote has meaning. Camus uses this phrase to drive home the central argument of his philosophy that meaning is not inherent in the universe, but rather created by our actions and choices, according to Camus. We must embrace the absurd nature of existence and rebel against it by creating our own meaning and pursuing our own projects in spite of the lack of inherent meaning. Camus believed that we should not look to religion, tradition, or society to provide us with meaning, but rather that we should create our own meaning through our actions and our relationships. In his book, The Myth of Sisyphus, he writes, "Men and women revolt because they are fundamentally opposed to the absurd. They revolt, even though they do not know how useless is the flame that they are holding out toward the night." Ask yourself, does not this absurd discovery give us a freedom of outlook that we should recognize? Yes, it does. It does give us that freedom. It does give us that immense liberty. We must imagine Sisyphus happy. This idea is closely related to the concept of living in the present moment and making the most of the time we have. Camus believed that we should not dwell on the past or worry about the future, but rather focus on the present moment and make the most of it. He writes in his essay, The Rebel, all happiness depends on a skillful use of the present moment. The meaning of a life is not determined by its length or the achievements of its inhabitants, but by the quality of the life lived and the impact it has on the world. Meaning is something that we create for ourselves through our actions, our relationships, and our pursuit of knowledge and understanding. This is why it is so important to be authentic in our lives. When we are true to ourselves and to our values, we create a life that is rich with meaning and purpose. On the other hand, when we live inauthentically, we deny ourselves the opportunity to create a life that is truly our own. We become slaves to the expectations of others and to the demands of society. But when we choose to live a life that is true to ourselves, we become free. We become free to create our own meaning and to pursue our own projects in spite of the absurd nature of existence. This is the kind of life that Camus celebrates in his work. He shows us that it is possible to find meaning and happiness in a world that is full of suffering and absurdity. He teaches us to embrace the absurd and to rebel against it by creating our own meaning and pursuing our own projects. Camus's philosophy offers us a roadmap for living a meaningful life. It is a roadmap that leads us away from the dangers of despair and towards the possibilities of hope and action. By following this roadmap, we can create a life that is rich with meaning and purpose, a life that is truly our own. But remember, this is not an easy path to follow. It requires courage, determination, and a willingness to face the challenges of life head-on. But the rewards of following this path are immeasurable. We can create a life that is not only meaningful to us, but also meaningful to others. We can make a difference in the world and leave it better than we found it. So I encourage you to embrace the absurd. Rebel against it by creating your own meaning and pursuing your own projects. Above all, be true to yourself. Be authentic and sincere in your dealings with the world. Only then will you be able to create a life that is truly meaningful. Living a life of sincerity and truth is a journey that begins with a single step. It starts with being true to ourselves and staying committed to our values and beliefs, even when no one is watching. It means being honest with ourselves and others, even when it's difficult. It means speaking up against injustice and standing up for what we believe in, even when we are afraid. Living a life of sincerity and truth is a challenge, but it is also an opportunity. It gives us the chance to create our own meaning and to make a difference in the world. It gives us the chance to be authentic and to live a life that is rich with purpose and meaning. We can all strive to live a life of sincerity and truth. It is a life that is worth living. It is a life that matters. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with others who may find inspiration in these words. Remember to subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking content. Together, let us continue to explore the depths of human experience in the pursuit of a meaningful life.